Hi everyone. Have you ever asked yourself, what are my parental duties now that my kids are adults? So for those of you that are curious about that topic, stay tuned. And I wanted to welcome those of you that are new. My name is Sally Harris, and I am a mom who walked a difficult road with my own daughter for over 10 years. And while her life was spiraling out of control, mine did the same. And I want to encourage you that it does not have to be that way. So today, let's talk about this. Let's talk about parental duties. Here in our world, 18 is some magic number, which I don't know where that came about or who decided that magic number, but you and I both know that a lot of kids are not ready emotionally, maybe physically, but especially emotionally. Some of them are not ready to adult at 18. Why is that? Sometimes I think we as parents forget what our parental duties are, quote unquote duties. There's 6 tips, 6 things that I think that are, obviously crucial. They're our responsibility when we have or adopt a child. Like, we are responsible for these things. But where does that end and where do they begin? And that's the hardest part. It's like, well, am I still responsible for this? Am I still responsible for their medical bills? All these things that moms come to me with, and so those 6 things, let's touch on that first. First of all, love, right? The emotional connection, the love that kids need for nurturing is so important, right? And we can only give what we have. And I know a lot of moms feel guilty about maybe not done enough of that. Secondly is safety. Safety is so important. It's our responsibility to keep those kids safe to the best of our ability, right? Food, of course, right? Clothing and shelter, right? Having a home, have a roof over their heads. And then lastly, medical care. So medical care up until the age of 18. And, here in the United States, they can stay on our insurance until 26, but I think they have to be in college. So, at a ripe age of 18, they're going to have to, if they're not in school, they're going to have to get a job where they can have insurance. It's interesting because, in the financial world, I used to do financial coaching, and I used to help people get out of debt. And the four things across the board, if you only had 4 things that you could afford, they are your food, your clothing, your shelter, and your transportation. Everything else can pretty much go, right? So if you had to really go bare bones on your finances, those are the 4 things. Well, it matches up with what we are responsible for our kids, right? But when does that end? When does that end to where we are not responsible for their medical bills? We're not responsible to continue to buy their, $100 shoes, or food beyond maybe what they're living at home, and food beyond what the family typically eats. All of these things, and these are parental duties that moms feel guilty about because they just keep giving, and they don't know when it stops. When does their responsibility stop and the child's responsibility start? And 18 is a good rule of thumb, right? Each child is different. And to me, it's not a cookie cutter approach. Every situation's a little bit different. The child's needs are different. Physical, emotional needs, it depends on what's going on. But obviously we do what we can and we want to help our kids, but without enabling them. And that goes back to, that's a whole nother video about enabling, but really boils down to, are you doing something for them that they are able to do for themselves? A lot of kids will work and work full time and still expect mom and dad to pay for things. And so that I don't agree with, right? They are very capable, and they need to know that they are able and capable of doing it on their own, because that's how they're going to flourish in their own lives. Just remember, we are raising adults, not children. So it's a fine line, right? It's a fine line, and situations are different. But I hope that helps, and just put things into perspective where our duties do come to an end. And then if we want to help, we can do that. But we are not responsible for their debt or responsible for, their consequences. So Hope that helps. Those of you that are maybe interested in my free Facebook group, it's called Mama Just Breathe. There'll be a link below for that. You can join us if you're a mom who is going through a trying time with your adult child. I would love to have you. And you can just, like I said, the link is below and we'll see you there. Take care.